as we go in the sports world. Lots of reflection just going on right now. Trying to find out what's best, figure out ways that we're going, where the No Show Sportscast is going. Right now, I'm just trying to plan the next few phases, trying to get a trip, trying to get more equipment. And one of the things that I haven't been doing recently, I feel like I've been, for some reason, there really isn't an explanation, but I do think that it has been more difficult for me to get around to putting as much work in as I want to, as far as these shows are concerned. I haven't been writing down notes in a while, and I think that there is something that can be shown in the output of everything. There's always something that is done in the best possible way, and it will always be known for having a lot more quality, time, effort, those kinds of things put into them. That is exactly what I want to be doing for the show. I do not want to be slacking or not thinking of ways to improve this show and to put more things ahead of me in my the things that I'm trying to accomplish here. I do think that I really want to be spending more time thinking about how we can make the show better, and that's only going to require more and more time and effort and expenditure, because there are going to be things that you cannot fabricate. I'm going to get I want to get a new camera. I want to start recording, making things look a little bit better, because I feel like I got the studio where things have been working out really great, and I can't complain. Things could certainly be going a lot worse. I'm not shutting down, that's for sure. We are looking forward to 2023. I'm still treating it as a New Year's resolution, and sometimes these things only last for a little while, but it's almost an entire year accountability that I want to be able to look back on and see that there was improvement being made, and that's one of the things that I want to do in 2023. And getting a new camera, making the quality look a little bit more polished, changing the layout. It's things that I'm going to be moving around with a little bit. Still trying to find out the perfect camera angle, I suppose you could say. It's a work in progress for sure. So things are looking better though, absolutely. I'm patient, and that's what I have to be to afford new equipment, to get things rolling. It's going to take time, right? And I want to get more guests on. Obviously, I've been pretty busy so far with my guests. I'm probably going to get I want to get a CFL member in shortly. I know that we are the BC Lions it's free agency right now, so a lot of new trades and signings rather are happening. So if we could get some of the Lions on the show, some of the ones that are nearby, live and in person, I'll probably try and get Tiger and Hugh back on as well. Probably go over to the island, and then Mohammed again. I'll probably get him in as well once we get closer to the end of the NHL season, maybe even at the NHL trade deadline. We'll see what his availability is. But yeah, also just thinking about who I want to become more like. So this show, the purpose of the show is to get better and better at being a broadcasting host, because I want to be in that position. I want this hosting profile and persona to continue. And it's only going to metamorphosize as I decide to put effort into metamorphosizing, because as time goes along and as time changes, I also want to change and become better and better at my craft. And that's only going to happen by going to the gym early in the morning and getting free throws in before school, right? That is the elementary way to do it, and it translates over into adult life, because I have a full-time job and I have other things that require my attention, and working hard, changing my work ethic, it's going to represent itself. Because if I don't end up where I want to be, it's going to be because of myself, just like I was saying with how I want to metamorphosize later, how I want to get better and better at it, and what kind of person, what kind of profile am I creating for myself here. So all of that being said, Trying my best to look at sports. Perhaps it's going to mean getting a consistent schedule, and that's probably what it's going to be, as well as topics that people can expect instead of just random. Obviously, huge events, current events, things like that. We touched on the the NBA trade deadline that happened last week. There was a lot of things going on there. LeBron James scored his 38,388th point last Tuesday. So that was another huge event. And then, of course, we had the Super Bowl on Sunday, which we're going to get into. So yeah, these things are kind of paramount. They need to be addressed. They need to be talked about. And I think that is where the work ethic is going to come in. A matter of me getting it done and getting it out in a timely manner. That's why we're doing this Super Bowl show as soon as humanly possible. So, my goodness, that was an amazing game. It really was. I enjoyed every single second of it. There's something magical about the Super Bowl. I think that we can all come together and watch a game. From my point of view, I'm always looking at it through the lens of it being the remaining game in the season, knowing that there is a huge purgatory ahead of us, which is the 7-month-long off season. And the NFL are all they're not Seventh-day Adventists, they're 7th-month off-seasonists. And they are celebrating, the Chiefs are. They are partying it hard. My goodness, I wish that hockey's offseason was this long so that Tampa could be champions even longer. Of course, they are during the season as they defend the year of which they are trying to claim it again. But it's not the same. When you have a long offseason, it feels good because you're the champions for that much longer. But of course, it doesn't matter in respect to the amount of time in between championship games like the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are going to be Super Bowl champions until they get knocked out of the playoffs next year or whatever happens at the end of the year for them. I'm already thinking about next season. I'm pretty sure that the Chiefs and the 49ers are going to play in the very first game of the season next year. So September 11th or 10th or 9th, whatever day that's going to be, on a Thursday night in September when we're all ready to go because our fantasy football teams are looking so nice and spiffy and we're ready for the next year of football. So the Eagles and the Chiefs played last night, and my goodness, it was just an amazing explosion offensively. Biggest takeaways are Mahomes fighting in there. You know, he hurt his ankle again. That kind of thing has to be acknowledged. I'm pretty sure that he was in a lot of pain throughout the entire game. Going into the game, most likely wasn't facing a whole lot of discomfort in the left ankle sprain that he had been suffering for, I guess it's been about a month now. But that kind of thing holds a player back, and psychologically he was ready to go. He was very in control offensively. We didn't see a whole lot of Mahomes because the Eagles' possessions were very, very long, especially in that first half. They were able to get up the field, They were able to get exactly what they needed. Every single 3rd and 1, every single 4th and 1, and mostly all the 4th downs. They went for it, except for a couple where they kicked field goals and punted. I believe they only punted 2 or 3 times. So the Eagles had a lot of control. But that was almost better for Mahomes and his ankle. He had halftime to recoup, and he had that incredible opening second half drive, which I believe was everything that the Chiefs needed to snap right back into it, realize that they're down by 10, going into the second half. What are we going to do? We're going to put it all on the line. And that's exactly what they did. They scored a lot more. I believe it was 24 points they scored in the second half, which was everything that they needed. I mean, my goodness. The Eagles were relying a lot on Jalen Hurts. Hurts was able to put the ball in the air at a miraculous quantity, and that was very important for the receivers because the run game just wasn't there. Jalen Hurts was doing all of the work in the run game, and that's what ended up perhaps being the difference maker because the Chiefs were able to do way much more. They weren't just hucking it down the field. Of course, Hurts has to be acknowledged for doing that, and he was able to do it very successfully. So it was a very excellent performance by Hurts, but the Chiefs ultimately take it on a penalty that is very controversial because we look at this kind of metric of calling penalties when they are game-deciding calls, especially on a 3rd and 8, I believe it was, that Mahomes was trying to complete it to Smith-Schuster, but he wasn't able to. And then they were thus able to get a first down. And eventually a strategic business decision led to McKinnon going down on one knee at the 1-yard line, a couple of knees by Mahomes, and the Chiefs were able to solidify it with a field goal. That was all just orchestrated. I don't think that there was a whole lot of guarantee, perhaps, from that penalty because the Chiefs had to figure out how to use the clock to their advantage. The flag happened just after the 2-minute warning. So there was, of course, a possibility. Having said that, the Eagles were milking all of their timeouts leading up to that. So they were in the middle of trying to get as much time as they could. And what would have happened was Harrison Butker would have kicked a field goal with about 1:54 left in the game. And then the Eagles would have had it back, probably scored a touchdown, or at least tied it up. We go to overtime. So that could have been a lot more of a close outcome. Disappointing, of course, for sure. I in the moment, wasn't taken away by the flag and the penalty. I was just still trying to figure out what is going to happen in this game because I always know that there is going to be enough time for there's always enough time unless there's 4 seconds because then it's just a Hail Mary. That's it. If Mahomes can get a field goal from his own 25-yard line, move it up with a couple drives like he did against Buffalo last year to get a field goal, just get Butker and get Harrison Butker in field goal range. And, other guys like Aaron Rodgers, you give them just 15 seconds. That's all they need. And, I thought that Hurts was going to get enough time. And we can't mathematically figure out how much time he was going to get. But at the end of it, that's what he was only able to, that 8 seconds just, obviously disappointing, a huge disappointment to the Eagles. I think Hurts played way better than I thought he would. He played better than Mahomes. But again, it's the Chiefs that knew what to do in the moment. They have the experience. They are not going to falter when they have done this before. And the Eagles' defense let them down. And that's my biggest takeaway, is that the Eagles' defense let them down. There shouldn't have been this much scoring. Mahomes was able to do everything that he needed. That crucial fumble, seemingly innocuous fumble by by Hurts, but obviously that just led to a touchdown. There was going to be another one. I believe it was Sanders who caught the ball, and then it was overturned. Looked like a catch, looked like a fumble return touchdown. 45-35? That could have been the final score quite easily. Could have been very different. Patrick Mahomes, 182 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Stellar performance, wins his second Super Bowl MVP. Jalen Hurts with 3 rushing touchdowns. I mean, yeah, this guy put the whole team on his back. And the Eagles just did not have an answer for everything that the Chiefs brought. Defensively, Nick Bolton, unbelievable. Leo Chanel was able to get to Hurts with a sack, as well as Kalen Saunders. Karlaftis played great. McDuffie played absolutely amazing as well. So did Juan Thornhill. These guys were definitely bringing it. It was quite impressive to see. And there's just the Eagles kind of let a lot down here. Gainwell with 3 rushing yards average, Sanders 2.3 and Scott 2.7. Obviously very close and, a huge firework of a game, but it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be keeping up to date as we go into this the postseason. I will be covering as much NFL news as I can as we get closer to baseball season, which I can't wait for. I am very much excited for baseball. It's going to be great. Happening in about a month or two. A month and a bit. End of March. March 30th is when baseball starts. So, it's so exciting. We got to get going. We are getting there. And I'm looking forward to all of it. So, yeah, we're going to get this going.